What do you have? Cosmo? Cosmo? You little shit. Where you at, Cosmo? I'm gonna kick your ass, Cosmo. What do you have? It's like having children. Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today, we're gonna go over what it's like to own a Ford Flex. And after owning one for 9 years and putting north of 180,000 miles on one, what better person to tell you what it's like to own a Flex than me? Let's get started. What do you got? You and your strutting your stuff over there? Brat. We're gonna start at the exterior, work our way around, mechanical, wipe out, and we're gonna end in the interior. So starting this exterior walk around, we're about 5 feet, and from here, she doesn't look half bad. The hood still looks shiny. She still has a clear coat. You got some road rash right there. Down the driver's side, we don't really see a whole lot. She's still kind of shiny, even though she's really dirty, and she needs a bath bad. We go to the rear. Not too much of an issue. And we end up on the passenger side. So from 10 feet, she doesn't look half bad. So when we get closer, you can see her body is starting to go. Hi, Cosmo. So we're back here at the rear hatch of my Flex. You can see over there in the corner, there's rust. And there's rust right here. And it's been here a while because you can see it's collecting on this trim piece. And it's, if you can see on the camera, it's going down the bumper. As we open our hatch, you can see right here where the rust is. And all along right here. It's starting to bubble from underneath the paint. Right here you can see in the corner, we got rust. The hatch won't be replaceable because this rust is coming from underneath. You can see it bubbling right here. So I'd have to replace this whole door. But going inside, where the hatch mounts to the actual unibody structure, you can see in here, we got rust bubbling right here. We got more of it right here. It's right here. In fact, that's not looking good. So it's starting to bubble up there. Working our way over here to the driver's side, you don't really see rust bubbling anywhere. But if you look down here, enhance. Right there, that's rust. So where the rust is bad, and you're gonna notice it, is as soon as you open the door. We have it right here. And as we go down the door, you'll see it in there, and you'll see all of this. In fact, the rocker panel is gone. And right here, I'll have an enhanced video clip showing the underside of this. But as you can see, oh, right there's a piece. We go to the back. We have it right here. We have it right here. I can stick my whole hand in there. The rear door doesn't look that bad. But you can see it's coming from under the paint itself. And over here on the passenger side is where you'll really see the rust right here, just flaking away. Right here at the end of the door. Now this isn't as bad as the driver. But you can see kind of like right here where this is starting to peel up. Cosmo, they don't need your face in the camera. And then all right here, this is rusted out. And you can see right here, the paint's starting to peel. And then we have all of this right here, and you can see where it's bubbling. So these rocker panels are going to need replaced. So with the body visual walk around complete, oh, I didn't do the headlights. So we have road rash on my bumper, but the front end itself isn't in bad shape. We do have road rash on the hood. You see dings here, right here's the spot. The chrome plastic is starting to bubble right there. As far as the headlights glazing over, I'm not sure how well it's gonna show up on camera, but it's kind of like right down to here. This is all glazed. I should sand these down and refinish them. You can see right here, this squiggly mark is the plastic. The hood itself, it still looks nice and has a decent sheen to it. The windshield, although it's dirty, has got road rash galore. With the exterior walk around showing the condition of the body done after 11 years, we now move into the mechanical aspect of this Flex. And one of the biggest wear items for this vehicle is that tires. These tires, well, I am rolling on Goodyear Eagle Sport all seasons, 255, 45, R20. And in my experience, I've only gotten 25, 30,000 miles out of a set of tires. One of the biggest complaints of having a Flex is inside tread wear. And that is attributed to a few things. One of them is this, the lower control arm in the front, the rear bushing wears out, and as you turn the steering wheel, it allows that rear arm to pivot. In the rear, you have the rear upper knuckle bushing that wears out. That bushing is not replaceable separately. You have to replace the whole knuckle from forward. And the other bushing that wears out in the rear is the pillow block that is smashed on the upper control arm up into the subframe. Another item that is a kind of a complaint, especially for Gen 1, is going to be the brakes. And that is because they feel a little underwhelming for the size of the vehicle that this is. Gen 2 has an option for HD brakes where the hat of the rotor is vented and the rear rotor is also vented. So this rotor and the one that I just had in my hand is standard duty brakes. They are smaller in diameter than heavy duty brakes. If you want to convert your Flex to heavy duty brakes, check out that video. Further into the mechanical aspect of owning a Flex, we're in the engine bay. The engine, the transmission, and you have the driveline, or drivetrain. If you have Ecoboost, regardless of generation, you have mandatory all-wheel drive. The PTU component of the all-wheel drive system is a kind of a weak link because it's only filled with 18 ounces of fluid. It's sandwiched between a catalytic converter, the transmission, and the oil pan, and it's passively cooled. So if you don't change the fluid regularly, you'll bake the fluid and you can grenade the PTU. As far as the drive shaft itself and the rear differential unit, mine are original and I don't have any issues with them. Actually, I think if you look at this video, my pinion seal, I think the front of the RDU unit is leaking. But after 200,000 miles, what do you expect? But up here, this is where things can get kind of expensive to repair. Here we are on the passenger side of the engine bay. One of the biggest complaints, not with owning a Flex, but this V6 Ecoboost engine itself, is it has an internal water pump driven by the timing chain. And the water pump, which is buried down in there, the inner seal can leak and allow the coolant to mix with the oil, ruining your engine. Or you have the timing chain starting to stretch, and then on a cold start, you turn the engine over, you have a rattle, kind of like over in this video. This isn't just to the Flex, this is to this V6 platform that is used on things like the Taurus Show, the Explorer Sport, and even the MKT. All use this V6 engine. Now on the F-150, where the machine direction of the engine is this way, that Ecoboost engine has an external water pump, but it still has timing chain stretch like this. As far as other nuances in here, I don't have any. My transmission is original. I flush it every year. I don't do a drain and fill. Other common things that can go wrong up here, the cooling fans go out or the relay goes out. And, well, that's about it, really. On the transmission, I've had it since I've owned this Flex. And it's very quirky in that when I'm slowing down, coming up to a traffic stop, a traffic light, stop sign, whatever's causing me to slow down, if I get slowed down to like maybe under 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, and then I get back on it, the transmission kind of gets stuck in between its gears. It goes into neutral, and then it figures out what gears it needs to be in, and then it slams into that gear and takes off. Or I'll come to that traffic stop, come to a complete stop, half a second later, go to accelerate, then it's in neutral, and then it figures out, oh, I need to be in first gear, and puts itself into first gear. It's extremely random. Winter, summer, rain, snow, it doesn't matter. I usually get it about once a month, if that. But that's the only quirk that I've had mechanically. I have had my engine replaced. Ford replaced it under warranty at 85,000 miles because I had metal shavings in my oil. They never really told me where the metal shavings came from. And when the engine was replaced and I got this replacement, I've only changed my oil at the dealer until the engine warranty was gone, which is like 2 years. And then since then, I changed the oil myself. I use a full synthetic 5W30, even though the spec for Gen 1 is 5W20. I use 5W30, and I even went and bought an oil cap for 5W30 when I was still having it done at the dealer. And I only change the oil at 50%, which is about 4,500 miles. That's what I do. So far, with 120,000-ish miles on this engine, I do have the startup rattle, but I learned a trick from another channel that you flood the engine before you crank it over by pushing on the brake and the gas pedal and then turning it, or turning the ignition on to start it. It floods the engine. I do that for about 5 seconds. Then I turn the key off, let off the gas, crank it back over. I don't have any startup rattle. The theory that the YouTuber was saying was it allows oil pressure to build in the engine before you turn it over. As far as that goes, mechanically, I haven't had any other issues. And as you've seen on my channel, I do most of the work myself. I have had my PT replaced under Ford warranty. They never said why. They said it was the goo was coming out the vent hole. I didn't have any issues with the PTO. I was just asking them 1 year, hey, like at 60,000 miles, just make sure the all-wheel drive still works. Because I was in winter and it really didn't feel like it was kicking the ass end in. With this one I do pay to change the fluid out, and I can definitely feel when I jump on it, it does push the ass end and you can feel it push you. As far as other mechanicals go, I don't have any other complaints about it. The hood struts, as you can see, are still holding the hood up, which is funny because most cars in this vintage don't have hood struts. However, the hatch struts do need to be replaced. So the exterior is done. Mechanical part, we're done. I don't have any issues with the brake booster or ABS. I've never had a fan relay go out or the fan go out, so those are all original. When I got the new engine, it's a long block, but I believe they transferred over the accessories like the alternator, the starter, the AC compressor, and my coil packs. So those are all original. And they have 208,000 miles on them. And I don't have any issues with them as of yet. And I have electric steering because with Ecoboost, it's electric. You don't have the power steering pump. So as far as the power steering pump reliability, I can't comment. I did just replace the belt tensioner in this video. Mechanical. No. That's it. Oh, we did headlights in this video. Those headlights had over 200,000 miles on them, and they were the original bulb. That's it mechanically. She's kind of high maintenance if you're not on it, especially with the suspension. Once it starts going, you need to get on it or you'll be eating tires. And at 200 bucks per tire, you probably don't want to have that. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the interior. All right, so now we're gonna move into the interior after 11 years and 200,000 miles. Mine doesn't look that bad. So the seat right here is kind of where, this is where my cell phone would sit. And these marks, if they show up, is from my gun. I now cover it when I sit on the leather. And the only other rip is this right here. But the motors still work, the seats still heat. I don't have any issues with that. They still move back and forth. The only complaint on things that break in the interior, ouch, as I hit my head, is this console lid. This breaks right here. I don't have issues with sync 1. Let's go in the back. I have the headrest DVD players. I don't have issues with them, but they rarely get used. Now that I think about it, one issue I did have with these DVD players is this one would turn on and then not turn off. And when these turn on, these back speakers are muted. So under warranty at like 30,000 miles or so, Ford put a new APM module in. Not real sure. But I've had issues since then. My seats aren't really scratched up now. But I do have a St. Bernard now. So we'll see how well that's going to go. Another thing that kind of wears on in here, or where it breaks easily, ouch, is this. So this is made of like plastic. And as you can see right here, mine is broke. This shouldn't cave in right there. It's broke underneath. A common thing is people will get plywood or MDF and put it underneath to stiffen this up. As far as the interior goes, I don't have the Vista sunroof. I can't compliment on that, but I've read online that it tends to leak a lot. As far as the engine, in here, in that C-pillar over there, is the fuel pump module. That goes out pretty frequently. Mine's original, thank God. I don't have any issues with it. That's kind of it, really. Well, that was a crash course in what it's like to own a Flex and things you should look out for. Now that we're nearing the end of this, there's a few things to kind of keep in mind. This has 2 generations. Gen 1 is 2009 to 2012. Gen 2 is 2013 to 2019. And there is a few things that are shared between them, and there's a few things that is not shared between them. Gen 2 styling has a more flat front end, and it has flex right here, with different headlights. The grill kind of goes right here into the headlight. You can convert Gen 1 over to a Gen 2 front end. The hood and the fenders, how about we do the hood and the fenders, are all the same, but you need a headlight, core support, grill, and obviously the bumper cover. Another thing for Gen 2 is the third brake light is mounted high and the wiper is mounted in the center. You also have dual exhaust on Gen 2, all trims, where Gen 1 Ecoboost is the only one that had dual exhaust. On the interior is where things become a little bit more different and not so much interchangeable. So Gen 1 comes with My 4 Touch Sync 1. Gen 2 comes with My 4 Touch 2, and you can upgrade it to My 4 Touch 3 or Sync 3. You cannot upgrade a Gen 1 Sync to 2 or 3. And that is mainly because they have a different cam system with a different instrument panel. So Gen 1, you have the analog gauges, speedometer, and the tachometer. Actually, yeah, I think that's how it is. In Gen 2, you have the giant dial in the middle, and then you have the two screens flanking it. Well, that's a different cam system. And you also have a different center console where the buttons are some physical, and then later years, or actually I think they were captive in the beginning of Gen 2, and then later years it became the actual buttons, but I can't confirm. So you can't change the two systems. That's the only stark difference between a Gen 1 and a Gen 2. Those eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that my mirror caps are body colored, even though I have a limited flex. That's because I replaced my mirrors and I wasn't paying for new chrome covers. So exteriorly, the biggest tire that people put on these is 22. Now, as far as the offset and whatnot, I don't know, but I've read that they put 22-inch rims on. They also do Megan coilovers for the rear, or they'll put the rear on airbags. Oh, let's see, anything else? Audio. So I have the stock Sony sound system because I have Sync 1, and I haven't really upgraded my audio. But from what I've read, following other people who have, there's a few things. If you have the Sony system, or let me rephrase this, it's easier to do an audio upgrade with the base system than it is if you have the Sony system. You cannot replace the head unit. So what I've seen people do, or read what they have done, is they take the audio from the head unit and they pump that into a DSP. And then from there, they rebuild the entire soundstage. The rear speakers in the D-pillar is a mono track. As far as the sub goes, it is located on the passenger side in the rear corner. There is no real aftermarket bolt-in upgrade for that sub. Generally what people will do is they'll put the sub in the spare tire well, and they'll put the amps under the seats, under the front seats anyway. That's it as far as audio goes. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's one more thing I can show you that Gen 1 can do that Gen 2 can't do. And what would that be? Well, this. Well, it's supposed to. Why is it not working? Oh, maybe I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right. Yes, that is right. The Gen 1 driver passenger side seat can fold down flat. From the dash to the back hatch, I believe is 10 feet. Gen 2 can't do that. And last but not least, we're gonna go over the platform that this is. So the Flex, as I mentioned, has 2 generations. They have 3 trims I'm aware of: SE, SEL, and Limited. I think somewhere in there was a platinum trim too, or a titanium trim. Gen 2 has different packages. You can get the street appearance package, where everything is blacked out with blacked out rims. Gen 1, SELs had the option for an Ecoboost engine. So if you're on the intranets or the interwebs and you're looking, what are you doing? And you're looking at a Flex and you see an SEL with an Ecoboost, that's a pretty rare Flex. Because in Gen 2, Ecoboost was only available for the limited trim. Now, in comparing or other things maybe to consider is the Flex's cousin, the Lincoln MKT, which I think the Flex looks better than the Lincoln, but they're should be mechanically the same. Also, this shares the platform with this generation Explorer and this generation Taurus. So the wheels are going to be relatively interchangeable. It's kind of like if the Taurus and the Explorer mated, they had a Flex. Outside of that, I think that is, well, I think that's everything. If you liked it, we'll hit that button. But if you didn't, well, you know what to do. And if you have any questions about a Flex, let me know in the comments. In the pinned comment will be a link to a Google Drive with common things for the Ford Flex, like both NA and the Ecoboost engine technical information, as well as how to remove the rear aperture or the plaque on the hatch. You guys enjoy the rest of your day or week or whatever you may be doing, and I will see you in the next one.